Welcome back. Just on another video. Peugeot 208 GTI. Lovely little car, this. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, really like it. It's got a few faults. I've already been to look at this car once before. Decided I couldn't do anything while I was there. Had to come back to my house so I can go right through it. It's been into Peugeot. They said it needs an ECU. Something to do with the biometrics sensor having faults. So when I've tested the sensor, we looked at it through the diagnostics. You could see the ECU was changing, and it was seeing readings from the sensor. Everything looked fine. I read the voltage was fine, signal was fine, ground was fine, everything worked out. There's 5 faults in there. 7 in the BSI, 5 in the ECU, engine ECU, ABS 1, and rain light sensor 1. So we'll go into the ECU. Could be more than one fault here. So atmospheric pressure sensor, signal voltage out of tolerance, flow meter signal air quantity above upper limited. Air intake circuit inconsistency between the atmospheric pressure and the turbo pressure at idle. That's a permanent fault. Intake air pressure signal pressure too low or implausible. That's permanent, and the last one's permanent as well, with intake pressure regulation pressure too low. Right, I think we've got our work cut out for us today. I wonder if all these could be linked. What are they? Are they all voltage ones? Voltage, flow meter, signal air quantity, pressure too low or implausible, intake pressure regulation pressure too low. Right. Yeah, these are all permanent bar that flow meter signal. That's intermittent. So this is the one where the Peugeot wanted to change the ECU. Local nature of fault, voltage out of tolerance. Intake circuit. Right, let's start the young girl. Engine fault, repair needed. Right, so I'm on the intake manifold pressure, and it's showing 14.5 psi, so that's round about near atmospheric. So if we watch it while I rev it up, sometimes it's not even reading it. Weird. Right, so this is actually a couple of days, about a week after I looked at it the last time, and we deleted off all the codes. So we've got some back in the engine. It's 5FU it is. So having a look in the engine, atmospheric pressure, that's at P2227, and then we've got a P0010, inlet camshaft phaser solenoid valve, control valve, and then the body control module, you've got a U1FO, fault event not stored in the fault logs, The next one is fault unlocking of the immobiliser by the engine management ECU. Rear wiper, forget the rear wiper, it's been taken out. Boot lid light, that bulb might not be there. Loss of hybrid drivetrain information of the start authorization information from the engine management ECU. So that's another one. Oil temperature, air conditioning circuit low pressure safety, and air conditioning high pressure information, front air condition blower control. And we've got a limb bus on the rain light sensor, so I'm not too worried about that. But these other ones, have a look at these other ones, like the unlocking immobiliser by the management ECU. That's the one to look at. Not sure about that U code there. So I'm kind of thinking it's some sort of power issue, because it's not all the same codes every time, and I don't know if the guy that owns the car is deleting the codes or not. So I'm going to look into the power on the ECU, so I'm going to test them now. Right guys, so what I've done is I've drew myself up a plan. This is my powers from what I can see from the Peugeot wiring diagram that I've got, which is rubbish. This is my grounds. A couple of resistant wires I wanted to check within the ECU. Guys, I'm still on with this pin 1, I'm not too sure about this. So if I turn the ignition off, it's at 0. Turn the ignition on, jumps up to 12.5 volts and goes away. So I'm not sure if that's right or not. So I'm going to look into this pin 1, so I'm going to try and research this pin 1, see what the crack is with this. Right guys, so I've got the wiring diagram up of the our vehicle. So it's our fuse box. They're not the easiest things to read, these certain Peugeot wiring diagrams. So what I was wanting to do was, I'll come back off here, I'll go from the start, is I wanted to see where pin 1 is on the ECU. This is the engine ECU. So there's pin 1, and that comes up here, crimp 1 information, so I'll click on that. So we've got from the fuse box, links in, goes to the fuel gauge, and then it goes to engine ECU. I think that's pin 1 and pin 2. So I wanted to go to the fuse box. I wanted to see where my F20 fuse was, because it's kind of hard to find. So if we zoom in, come along. Oops, sorry, try not to shake you. So we found there's our F20 fuse. So what I was able to find then is where F20 fuse was. So I'll look F8, 9, 10 and 20 somewhere near. So I could go back to my fuse box. Because I'm looking in the fuse box is, when you're looking at the fuse box, you've got F27, I don't know if you can see that there. It's F27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. And looking around, we've got F18, F19, F28. So I'm searching all over and I can't find it. So then I found me F8, 9, 10, and then this located me to the F30 fuse, F20 fuse, which is a 30 ampere. So I'm going to check that now. Stick it down. Stick my lead to battery negative. Just quickly test it. It's working. And we should go turn the ignition on. See what happens.
get something.
As soon as it's running, so is that a normal sequence? You go back to this fuse box and have a look. Turned off. They're all turning off, aren't they? Until we started. It's weird. It's a weird system. So I don't even know if that's right. Right, so these are the ones that are cutting out, aren't they? These 2010 F8. So this is the one with the diode in. So that's your power come through. Yeah, that's power. So this is the ground side. So the ground can only go one way, or the power can only go one way because it's stopped by that way, the diode. Our F20 doesn't have one on, so that's controlled by this relay here. So as soon as we get F13, 11 and 12, this relay should stay in then, unless it's kicked out by the ground side of number 11. So we need to go and find this relay. We need to see if we're losing ground or power. So if it's ground, and then it's ECU controlled for these relays to cut out until they start, or if we're losing power, there's an issue inside the fuse box. There's 11, 12. So we want to be on there, don't we? See if that lights up. Right, so that's lit up and stayed in. So we need to see if it's ground side controlled. So we need to find out which one's our relay for the F20. I'm not sure which one it is, doesn't say on there, so we'll have a quick look. Right, so to make things easier, I've put both traces at 0. So that's the red one, 0 and 0. Stick the ignition on. Stop that if I get it in time, and then we'll go back over and have a look. Before, during the ignition goes on, it shoots up. This goes from 0 to 20 volts, and then when it does eventually come on, it goes up to 20 volts and back down to 0. So why is that shooting up to 20 volts? I wonder. That's our blue trace. That's the one that's in pin 8, is it? Model pin 11, sorry, pin 11. So see how a red one drops off. This is pin 1. This is the one that should have the power. When the ignition's on, it just drops off until you start it. Right, so now we can see from the oscilloscope that when the computer's grounding this wire out on this PU, this one here, so it's grounding this wire out, we get spikes up to 20 volts. So the computer's obviously going to say, that's not right, I'm supposed to be grounded, why am I getting over voltage? So we need to now get these pins and pin them out and take this wire out here and go straight to the computer. So basically we want to pin into the computer, I'll pin these in, we'll check these and leave this one out and pin this one straight to the computer and see if it'll bypass it and see what we get, and we'll go from there. Right guys, I've took the pins out on that, depinned it, and I went in and bypassed the computer ground. So, and then that's happened. So you can see the first one goes up to just under 16 volts and back up to 20, 20, 20 and 20. So I'm going to now test the power feed on channel 2. So I've now hooked that on with the yellow one. So got it out there, I'm going to test that so we can see what goes on with that. So we should have a bit of idea, see how much power goes in. I can't see 20 volts going in. And start it off again. So 12 volts. Both of them's at 12 volts. So I'll turn the key off, turn it back on, and then we'll see what happens. Come on. Right, so our voltage stayed at 12 volts, but still jumped up high on this one from the computer. It back probed into pin 11 on there, and then I've got my light into the relay side, and I'm just going to connect it up to battery positive. So I've got the other side, the one that goes into pin 11 to ground. So if the wire's good, that should light up pretty bright, which it does, really bright. So we know the integrity of that wire is good. So for me, it's not the fuse box, it's obviously the ECU's packet on it. It's shooting up to 20 volts for some reason. So it's too dark now to carry on, so I'm going to have a think about it and see where I go.